So hello, SONM community. Welcome to our August question and answer session here on YouTube. I'm your host, Andy Sachs, and with me remotely from SONM headquarters in Moscow is the CTO of SONM, the decentralized fog computing platform, Igor Lebedev. Igor, say hi.
Hello, everyone.
All right, so here's what we'll do first. Igor is going to answer some questions that he's collected from you in Slido and other places. And if time allows, I will also pick out some questions that you contribute over the next few minutes in the comments field in this YouTube page, and he'll answer those as well. So if you want to ask a question and you haven't done it yet, go ahead and type it in the YouTube chat window just anytime in the next few minutes. And in the meantime, Igor, you ready to answer some other questions?
Yeah, sure, we will try to do it.
Okay, so you've got a bunch of questions here, and the first couple involve the testnet. They said first that the first one talks about you saying during the testnet that you were helping companies set up and get to know the system, and where are they? So let me ask that. Where are those companies that you were helping out during the testnet?
Indeed, there are a number of companies which were making trials and tests on SONM with a test network, and they're doing this with the Live network. But still, the adoption rate is very slow, as we previously estimated it. It's slower than we estimated it, and companies are currently learning how this works, because even to realize the fact how the fog computing is working and how they should launch their software, even if it will work, they have to pass the learning curve, and they have to read the documentation, they have to make tests, and there are some questions about how to pay with the cryptocurrency. And these are all the obstacles on the way to adoption. And as we expected, as we did not expect, it did not happen instantly. So it is now slowly happening. People are learning, people are making trials, but probably it will take a little bit longer than we expected in our dreams to take this.
Okay, so it never goes quite as fast as you expect and works quite perfectly the first time, but you are making lots of progress, right?
Yeah, it did not happen instantly like the next day. We released on time on the end of the June, and honestly, when we were preparing the release, all our strengths and all our focus was to deliver the software, and we were completely dedicated to do this. But after we released, we realized that the documentation needs to be updated, that people need some automated installer just to make the process easier, and we need to educate and learn people, and we need some other things, like namely some special actions on our website to help them. There are many things that were underestimated while we were focusing on the product, and now we spend the time since the release to develop these additional items. Okay, so
let's talk about the Livenet now. You're about 45 days, a month and a half away from the release of the Livenet, and there's some concern about the mining farms and the real task companies, the ones that were supposed to start using it. So I want to ask you some sort of a little cluster of questions about the Livenet. Are you seeing mining farms and real task companies starting to use it? Do you consider the Livenet so far to be successful? And also, it looks like you have a total of maybe a couple of dozen suppliers so far. Are you happy with that number? Did you expect more? What are you doing to grow it? So just comment on the status of the Livenet and your suppliers so far.
Definitely, we are not happy that we have lower than 100 suppliers at this moment. And let's start from the question whether this is successful. It depends. If we, as a person being responsible for developing the software, of course, I think this is successful because we managed to release the software and it basically works. But if we view it at the general sense, at the more broader angle, if we check the adoption rate, we will see that it is partly successful because the adoption rate takes more time as we see it now. So at least the answer to this question is so-so. Partly yes, partly not completely successful maybe, because the adoption curve could be faster or maybe not. So yes, back to the 45 days. We spent a lot of time fixing the bugs which obviously existed in the system and which we realized after the system went to live. None of them were critical, so no one lost his funds, but we had some improvements, we had some new releases. Actually, we released 8 versions since the since the 45 days since our release. And many of them had new features and improvements, and as well as bug fixes. So back to the question, the farms, as you mentioned, the crypto mining farms, as we see it now, they need more things than just a product that we released. As an example, they need an auto installer, because if you have a crypto mining rig at this moment, you can install SONM. You will have to install Linux first and then use one single script for command line. We always consider this to be very simple, but as we see it now, this is not simple enough, because there are like mining operating systems like Rigos or Ethos, which basically installed from the flash drive, and we do our own installer in the same way now, and we already have a working prototype. I posted a picture on the Twitter, and we expect maybe 1 more month to finish the installer, and this will dramatically reduce the difficulty to install the SONM on a mining rig. And another obstacles on the way is the documentation. Let's say we had some issues with the English pronunciation and spelling. We had some issues with just long read, because many people were just not ready to read the text. It's just a surprising thing for me that people do not read the text. Honestly, I did not expect this to happen. But still, we have adoption. We have people who is given us a test. We have some mining rigs, a few of them actually in the system by now, but currently we have an agreement, some of agreements with some mining companies, which will give us a try within the few weeks. And we have an internal goals for this, and my own estimation, like my personal understanding, is that we should get around 100 mining rigs or 100 suppliers within a month, like August or September, and we should reach 1,000 by the September, October. This is like my estimation of which would be a successful goals, and we will try to attract 100 within a month, maybe August or September. To do this, our plan and our aces in the sleeves is, first, we already guarantee the revenue for the suppliers, because we do crypto mining on each hardware. We already we released the software bot which is doing this, so any people can download it and use SONM as a nice hash to dig new currencies. We also improve our documentation, and we write new white paper, which probably will be released within a month, but still it's hard to estimate, because this is a very difficult document. It's our general vision, and I personally write this, and I have some other tasks to do. It's like I will try to deliver it within a month, but we will see how it will be going. And also we have a business development personnel in our company, and they're currently contacting their leads, their business cards, their contacts from the conferences to attract mining rigs. And they face the problems like, where is your auto installer, where is your documentation, why should we switch? And we explain this, they find some reasons and they give a try. Like just 2 days ago we had a story that there was a mining company which were using Windows to mine the cryptocurrencies, and they tried to install some, and they said the Linux is difficult, so we just can't handle it. So this is not something you can. Well, we could think about this in advance, but installing Linux is not complicated. It's less complicated than installing Windows for me, but probably not for other people.
And Igor, not everyone has your superpowers with Linux or Windows, right?
Yeah, so right. I mean, we do a lot of work on our mistakes, and if the whole year our goal was just to deliver the software, so now the software is not the most important part. Now the most important part is the adoption, is the obstacles on the way, and making it smooth and simple. And as we see it now, it's not making instant. It's not instant. It takes days and weeks to do this.
Of course, and I'm reading the goals that you mentioned before, I'm reading those as goals and not as guarantees, right?
Yeah, well, some of them sounded like guarantees, but we definitely try to stick to our promises, and we do what we do. And the thing that makes me inspired is after all, even with all the difficulties we take into our vision, people are interested. People give a try, people face obstacles, and we try to fix obstacles because there is interest. People have interest, people give it a try, but there are a lot of obstacles. You know, I would be like disappointed if the people didn't have interest. But people have interest and they have obstacles, and now we like bring the obstacles down. So this is what is happening now.
Okay, I want to go back to the discussion about miners, because there was some concern that not enough miners have been attracted, and I know that we were talking before the session. You mentioned that you actually guarantee profitability for your suppliers who are miners. Tell us more about how that works.
Yeah, I will tell you, but the basic idea is the following. We build a supercomputer, and the first step is to build a computing power exchange, so we can, you know, if you build a supercomputer, you have to define who has the right to launch something on top of it. Whether user A or user B, who will use the supercomputer. We need to make some kind of market, so they will, the person who will use the supercomputer would be the one who pays more, who pays for the resources, because there are no free resources. This is the first step that we did, an exchange. The next steps would be to build on top, of that computing power exchange. But so far, what I wanted to say, this is first steps. And sorry, get back to your question. The question was about.
Yes, about the miners and the guarantees.
Oh yeah. So sorry. So what we say. The system is designed to solve practical tasks, any kind of tasks, and the system architecture is universal. But when we don't have practical tasks, we can do crypto mining. And crypto mining is something anyone can do, and like if you have any kind of computer hardware, your PC at home, you can do crypto mining and you will guaranteed to earn some money. Probably few money, but you will earn them. So we say, whenever we don't have real tasks, we will always do crypto mining, some of them. There are different kinds of it. So this is the way how we guarantee. We say your hardware will be always utilized in SONM because we will launch crypto mining. But the problem is, you know, we were aiming to do this system design, but in the recent weeks, basically in this month, the whole cryptocurrency went down. Ethereum was costing 1,000, 1,200, and now it costs below 300. So it went down 4 times. So the profitability of crypto mining on Ethereum went down 4 times. So I mean, this is something we could not predict. We were predicting that in the winter, crypto mining on Ethereum was paying for itself in 2 or 3 years, and now it is paying for itself never. So you know, so this is one of the surprises and things that we could not predict. Still, you know, crypto mining is still the best thing you can get out of a computer, because no one will pay you instantly, and always no one will pay you more than crypto mining. Only if you do sales and if you have a customer, he will probably pay more.
Okay, and also SONM is offering this guarantee, and you also feel strongly that the profitability is higher if you're mining through SONM than outside of SONM. Is that right?
Yeah. The concept is yes. For SONM, mining profitability is just the bottom line. It's something you always have. But when we have real tasks, customers will have to pay more just because they can't get it cheaper than crypto mining. So for us, mining profitability is the bottom line. Yes, but getting back to the question about mining equipment joining SONM network, the situation of the mining market is changing, and it drastically went down, the profitability of the crypto mining thing, the whole. So many of the crypto mining are basically now trying to sell the equipment, not to utilize it with SONM or with something. They just want to get rid of it because it will never pay for itself. So there is a panic on this market. And this is the conditions in which we have to work now. Because currently, we call our contacts and say, guys, we launched our system, let's give it a try. And they say, what a try, we are trying to sell it. Would you like to buy our hardware? Would you like to buy our mining rigs? So, you know, this is they have something more important to worry about at this moment, some of them.
Okay. I want to turn to marketing a little bit and grab a question off the YouTube feed. There's a question from VJCS2411, which is a funny first name. And he or she is asking about attracting more customers and SONM's plans to do that. For example, you're currently working with Amazon Web Services or Azure. And this feeds into a more general question I think people have about marketing. Has it started? Has it ramped up? What are you doing now and in the future? What have you done in the past? So maybe you could just comment on all your marketing in general.
Yeah, sure. Even the marketing is not part of my work, but still, as a CTO, I do a product design and I do a product vision, and in some degree, I do some product vision for marketing. But so I will try to explain for them. You know, marketing is not a single activity. You have a set of activities, and for us, marketing works in the following spheres. First, we have brand recognition. You know, we had a person, we had Fedor Sakharov, our senior developer. He visited a conference in Las Vegas, the DEF CON, and he was in the SONM t-shirt, and he attended a party, and all the people seeing him was telling him that they know SONM. So I think from the part of the brand recognition, it works. SONM is already recognized and known. So the second part is that our marketing activities, we have a lot of publications in the media all around the world, in Korean media, in Chinese media, in European media. If you follow our Twitter or our public chats, you see that each week we have a set of articles. Even this week we had already, this is just the middle of the week, we already had 3 or 4 articles featuring our founder Alexei and just our technology. So the second activity of the marketing is the coverage of what we do. We have articles by different media. Also, we have activities in social media, which we currently launched the brand advocacy program. We will have additional updates for this, for the SONM Testnet participants and some other things, but still we do some activities for membership, for the community. We have some issues, let's say if we talk about web advertisement, if we talk about like buying keywords on the advertisement, we have some difficulties landing people on our website because we can't currently set up some goals for this traffic because we don't have a single action to do. If we get a traffic on our website, we have to point people basically to the documentation because they have to go read how to install it, make their decisions. So this is not like easy to set up a goal for this. So when we will establish our SONM installer, this would be like a more easy, more like accountable goal for the incoming traffic on our website. This is one of the difficulties. As you see, we have a new video format for our Q&A. We have some changes. We made an activity on the Reddit. We had an AMA. We have more people from the team now working with the community in the Telegram group. So basically, we have a lot of activities. So I think that it is not fair not to recognize it because there are activities. Probably someone may say that these activities were not enough to meet someone's expectations, and he may be like, it could be true as well. But we do some marketing, and basically we do a lot of it. Now the things are changing in that we will be more dedicated into some to focus crypto miners, as we did some activities. Now we have a guaranteed revenue. Now we have Corner as our cloud mining bot, which we provide as a service, and someone can take it and use it. We will focus on it as well. So I think we have some activities, a lot of them.
Okay. I want to ask you quickly about a white paper. There was talk about that coming out somewhere around the end of August. Is that on track? When could people expect to see it?
Yes, we work on the white paper. Actually, I'm doing it personally because we had some attempts to do it a different way, and the white paper must be written by a person who has the best vision for the whole system. And basically, there are a few people in the company. One of them is me, and we have a product owner, maybe our COO, and a couple of other guys. One of us has to do this, and currently I'm doing it myself. It's one of the tasks that I couldn't delegate to someone. The estimation was to do it in August, but I have really a lot of work to do, not only about the white paper. So it could still take 1 month. It could be in early September or even in the middle of September. Probably we may first release a draft, because when I finish with the text, we'll have to do some images for it, some presentation for the look. Probably we will first release a draft, but maybe not, because releasing a draft without the visual part probably wouldn't be something we will do. So the time required for the new white paper would be for me to write the text, for the team to accept the text and peer review, and then we'll have some presentation. It could take 1 more month. It could be done in September. I just place my rough estimations. I can't promise it for some exact date.
That's okay, but it does sound like it's coming up in the near future, and that's
the bottom line. I work on it. There would be some important articles. I still do some research on this, basically relating to the Masternodes and our future development with Kubernetes.
All right.
I think people will like it. I think it will be like a white paper enough for a new ICO, but we will do it for the same token, so it will be fine.
Okay, you mentioned the Masternodes, and there's been some curiosity about that. People felt there was an expectation set that that was supposed to be implemented around now, around August, September. Then it was pushed to September, October. Then there's concern about the number. You may only need 4 or 5 of them. So for the folks who have already thought about or have invested in Masternodes, looking for passive income, what's the schedule on that? What are your expectations?
Yes, indeed. We were talking about the Masternodes for the long time, and we released an article in our blog, and it clearly defines the goals of the Masternodes. The Masternodes and the reasons why we do them is because we want to solve some tasks. We want to decentralize some components of the system, some components which require trust. We don't want to hold them on our side. So this is the goal for the Masternodes. And you know, we have to understand that Masternodes is not the primary product thing, because the primary product is for people to use the SONM system, to buy and sell resources. And Masternodes are not helping this to happen. It's just like for doing things the right way, for decentralizing the system. So this is not having the main product goal. If we take the SONM installer, if we take the documentation, if we take SONM profitability calculator, the SONM Explorer, blockchain explorer, this would be all the components which are more important because they directly relate to the adoption. And Masternodes is a component which we should do and we want to do them, but they have secondary priority for us. This is the first thing. And we always said that these Masternodes are not done for the purpose of someone to have additional revenue. It's like a required component which will work somehow and someday. But there is no goal to deliver them as fast as possible because they have a secondary goal. Indeed, we had some estimations to bring them in, probably in August or September, but the estimations are moving because we have more important first priority components around the adoption and around the obstacles. So current estimations is that probably we will do them in the following month, as we said. Probably it could be October. It could even be November or December. It could be, I just say it now that it could be even later because this is important, but this is secondary. Like you have an important task, but you have more important.
Well, I imagine that the reason you're focused on adoption is the faster adoption happens, the faster every other component of SONM gets strengthened, including the suppliers and their income.
Yeah, actually, adoption is the only important thing as of now. If you want me to leave one important thing, it would be adoption. Okay. The Masternodes would be with the 3rd or 4th priority in this list. But we still, we will have them. We will have them, but we have limited resources, and we have new incoming, emerging new tasks which we have to do, like Explorer, like the calculator, the installer, and actually a lot of other things which you probably may even don't know about. So they are on the way. And you know, another point is that Masternodes were never part of the main roadmap. They were never mentioned on the roadmap. It was always passing as a secondary goal. I don't say we will delay them. We will just do them as a secondary priority. You must understand this because there are more important things to do. This is the thing I want to understand from community.
So I want to switch over to the Slido questions and grab one from John McAfee. So you have an impressive audience here. The question is, when can we expect to see the first real-world companies openly using SONM? Any expectation for that?
You know, my expectation was that first will arise in July. This was my expectation. Now my expectation is that it could be August, it could be September, because this is the thing I cannot predict. We have already successfully passed some of the trials. We have successfully made a rendering scheme with SONM. We have successful tests with SONM. But this is not only relating to us. This is about also a company's ability to start using it. This is about their willingness to make a press release. This is about their willingness to push it forward. There are many factors, and I cannot tell it for sure. It will happen in the following weeks. It may be happen in the following month, but I expect it to happen soon.
Okay.
But I expected it to happen in July. It did not happen.
Well, I know everybody, including you and me and all of your followers out there, we all want everything to be perfect and working at 100% on the day of the launch, right? But the real world doesn't operate that way.
So yeah, it's not happening this way, and but as I already mentioned, what makes me inspired is that people are interested. But this interest is not converted instantly to new partnerships, press release, and new launches. It's just a slow thing that happens in the background.
And I think it feels slow when you're experiencing it, but if you look back, let's say 5 years from now at the adoption process, the marketing, in the distance, it will actually look faster than it feels. I want to follow up with a question from the YouTube feed from a screen named Supernatural, because it references marketing and specifically TechCrunch Disrupt, which is coming up in just a few weeks in San Francisco. And of course, SONM has a booth. He asked, she asked, can we expect something special from SONM at TechCrunch Disrupt? And I know that you have a speaking session, right?
Yeah, I have. I will have a workshop for 1 hour, and it was it's called like a workshop about the bleeding edge IT topics and IT trends which we have, and I will probably talk about the blockchain generally, and I will talk about distributed computing, and I will explain them very simple and how that relates to SONM and how that works all together. So people visiting this will ultimately understand that blockchain is not like curing cancer, and it is not making water wine, and there are some valid use cases for it which works, and there are invalid use cases. And same for the distributed computing. Like if you have a Microsoft Word application, distributed computing will not make it work faster. But if you have some special types of applications, sometimes for websites, sometimes for rendering, it may help you in some circumstances if you do things the right way. So I will talk about this to a general audience, trying to make it as simple as possible. So, but this is about the speaking slot. The general, if we talk about what to expect from Disrupt San Francisco and TechCrunch, we have to understand the conference, the audience. It would be general audience, partly from IT and partly from just the business. It's one of the conferences related to IT. So what you can expect? We have to expect brand recognition. We can expect more companies, medium and big size companies, knowing about SONM and probably giving it a try for their work. So what I would expect is that more brand recognition, more articles about SONM, more brand awareness, and many new leads in our CRM system, so we can work and try to build maybe partnership, maybe we may try to build new adoption. So this is what I expect.
I have a question, and it got the most upvotes of anything on the Slido list, so I definitely want to ask it, and I won't even paraphrase it. I'll just ask it as it's written, okay?
Yeah.
Here's the question. When 50 ghost companies?
We need to explain the background of this question. The background is when we were on the consensus, we had a speech of Alexey Antonov, our founder, and there was mentioned one of the future priorities is that we have 50 companies interested in SONM. How it works, we have a CRM system where we connect all our leads and our contacts who are interested in SONM, and we indeed have even more than 50 companies, even more of them. And this means that we had, before the consensus, we had already had more than 50 contacts willing to give us SONM a try. And currently, what we do after the launch, we communicate with these companies, we inform them that we launched, and we describe how to use it. We say, here is the documentation, please read it, please understand it, please give it a try, we will send you test tokens, we will then and then and then. And my speech starting to get long. My speech is long already at this moment, what we tell to them. So it was about the obstacles.
Okay.
I mean, we have a lot of companies interested and we work with them, but our ability to solve the obstacles and our ability to give them attention is limited because we have 4 business developers. We have 50 companies, and each of them takes a long conversation of explanation from our side what to do and how for them to try. So this is just not instant process as it turned out to be. So back to the question, when 50 companies when they will be ready, we work with them. We can work with probably 10 companies at once because we have, as I mentioned, 4 business developers. We have, if we count including me, we have probably 3 or 4 business analysts which can handle 1 or 2 projects at once. So we have some limited ability to handle them, to bring them in the system. And the companies which we cannot take with our hands will have to learn from the documentation and solve the obstacles which we currently have, which we currently solve. So what I wanted to say is that the 50 companies are not as we see it now, they're not jumping instantly in the system because we need to help them, and our ability to help is limited. And yeah, this is it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is it.
All right. I want to ask another question from the YouTube feed. Is there any plan to release a comparison document for renting processing power with centralized cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and GCP?
Yeah, we have a lot of plans, and this is one of them, to make a comparison, to make some, you know, in the form that you ask this question, I don't think this is having much sense, because for people who already know how to rent computing power from AWS or Google or from Azure, if we make a comparison how to do it with some, it wouldn't make much sense. We can instead maximum simplify the process so that it looks maximally similar to what they have with the cloud.
Okay.
I don't think we have to compare it. We just have to make it as much simpler and as much similar to what they already know. This is what we have to do. I think this is it.
Okay. I've got just a handful of questions about SONM's founders and some of its executives. I want to sort of group them all in one big question. There's a couple from our Slido list saying, where is Ponomarev? Is he still in jail? That's intriguing. Where is Vitaly gone? There's a couple of questions about where the CEO and main brain and creator might have gone, that he hasn't addressed the investors and people, and how Antonov became co-founder on where on the original white paper he's listed as a marketing and financial advisor. Yeah. So I just want to ask you sort of a general background question of all these folks who were in the mix early on and may not have a big role in the spotlight right now. Where are they all?
Well, let's start from the simple to more complex. Okay, let's start from Vitaly. We had one of our employees. He was brilliant. It was Vitaly. He was taking part in our Q&As from the beginning with me together. So yes, he left our company, and this is we miss him. But this is a matter of his relationship with his boss, with Camila, because we had some changing in the agreements, changing in the like the parameters of our work in SONM, and I don't know the exact details, but they didn't make an agreement on the future contract details. And so this is a question between him and her, between the Vitaly and his boss. Now let's get back to our CEO and Sergey. Definitely a joke about the jail. This is a joke, just a plain joke on the community, but. Sergey is not a public person. He is not like visiting in the public a lot, and he is doing some vision for the company. He is doing some research. He helps us to understand about the smart contracts, about the blockchain, about decentralized system. He's very good at this. And this work is not requiring him to be public. And as we mentioned in our statement, probably yesterday or the day before yesterday, the most management questions and like the operative questions, they are currently handled by Oleg Lyubimov, who is CEO of the SONM. He's basically a deputy of Sergey Ponomarev. So Sergey is doing like a global vision, and like he's a visionary for us. And Oleg is doing management and operative decisions. So this is how it works for Sergey. And if we get back to Alexei Antonov, you know, probably this is a matter of miscommunication, because it was a very wild way of the ICO, and it was a wild way of establishing a working company out of the crowd sale. So Alexei was, again, not a public person at the beginning, and at the beginning we have such people as Andrei Voronkov and Sergey Ponomarev. They were considered as the founders because this was the initial idea of them. But Alexei was a person who helped to make the crowdfunding. He was a brilliant marketer. He was a brilliant person to just raise the money, and he never wanted to be like a public recognized founder of the SONM for whatever reasons he had. He just wanted to be like a modest role of a like advisor, because advisor is like something you just no exact definition, just a person that helps. So he always was a person that helps, but he was initially in the first set of people. So actually he was a founder all this time. He just did not want this to be a recognized title. And with since Andrei Voronkov left our company a year ago, and we have some changes in our management. So finally, Alexei recognized that this is a title he has, and he has to carry it on. So this is now this is the reason why he is now like telling he is a co-founder, because he always was, and now this is like the burden and the responsibility he carries on.
Got it.
This
okay.
Is about it.
In an unrelated question, do you still have a partnership with Mining Union, and will they use SONM? That's also from the Slido question list.
Yeah, we have. I just 2 days ago I sent them a message about when finally will their mining rig be working in SONM, and they promised. Evgeny Potapov promised me that his mining rig will be in SONM very soon. So if you see him, you tell him that he promised that his mining rig will be in SONM soon. If you see him, you tell him.
Okay, I have one request from the YouTube viewers from someone named Skyfall D. They say, Igor, just smile. And that's the same advice I was giving you before we started.
Yeah, exactly. You know, smiling is not my superpower again, but so I will just do it when we have good jokes. So just provide us good jokes and we will do the smiling.
All right, you got it. All right, it's just about time to wrap up. Just check in with you. Is there anything else that you wanted to share?
About to share, well, basically we covered a lot of like critical and essential questions. Probably if we have, just let me ask you, did we cover all the questions from the community? Did we cover important questions from the Slido? What else? We
covered not all of them, but we covered the majority from every source in the 40 minutes that we had allotted, yeah. Okay,
I think we covered most important things for the, you know, one thing I wanted to tell is that we are updating our roadmap, the 5th version. We change it a lot because the situation changes, everything changes, and we have to adapt. And the thing that we understand now is that the roadmap and the milestone that people are waiting for us to present is not only related to product and not to the technical part and to the releases. We understand that people expect us to give them new goals, new milestones that we will reach in the year perspective from now, and we are preparing such a document. It will be released soon. The technical part for this document, the new updated roadmap for technical part, is already presented by me internally, and we are working to provide additional marketing milestones and probably business goals milestones. And we will, when we are ready, probably within a week. Again, this is not like an exact expectation. So we understand you want to understand our goals and milestones. We definitely have our strategy and milestones. We will present them soon. Just need to sort out which things we can promise, which things may change, which are definite, which are not. This is complicated.
Oh, I know.
We have strategy and we have milestones, of course.
Okay, so it sounds like if you had to sum up all your answers into one request, it would be something like, be patient, we're making progress as quickly as we can, we're solving problems, we are moving ahead.
Definitely, and you know, I tell you one more feeling from me, you know, we will live in the whole year to release the system, and just a week before or a month before, I was feeling myself like the finish is soon, the happiness is soon, but just the day when we released, I realized that we released, it works, it's good, but even at that moment I realized that this is not the end, this is just the beginning. I had, you know, it's like you crossed the mountain and then you see a lot of more mountains there, and this was only the first one.
Yep.
So we have a lot of work to do and we work on it, but you know, the things changed, the environment changed, the business changed around this, and our goals changed as well, because we already have a working system. We still make improvements, we still make new features, but it already works. So we now are in the process of switching the focus. We now have to switch it, all things that we do. Just an example, we had software developers who were only doing the software or the product, the release, and now we have split our software developers into the people who do the platform, the people who do additional services, the people who consult the first software companies who are adopters, because we need like people who consult them. We need to split the team. So this is like new circumstances in which we work now. Those are my feelings.
All right, so everybody smiles, everybody takes a deep breath, and you are making progress.
Yes.
Well, that is just about all the time we have for this Q&A. A few quick announcements as we wrap up. First, the next Q&A will be in the middle of next month, so around mid-September, and SONM will be announcing the date and the time soon. Before that comes TechCrunch Disrupt in San Francisco, and we want to invite you to see us there. We will have a booth. The dates are September 5th to 7th, and SONM is in booth O. O is in the letter O, not as in the number 0. We also want to really thank Igor for his time and thank all of you in the audience for watching, for submitting questions, certainly for caring so much about SONM's progress as a company. And if you like the Q&A, we encourage you to give a thumbs up to the video and leave a positive comment in the comments field below. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you for this discussion, and thanks for leading this through our difficult questions.
You're very welcome.
Hope you will join us next time. See you.
I will. Take care.
Bye-bye.